The main idea from the project is to effectively change the way in which people understand how plants compete and how we measure what happens. Because the models and the approaches that people have been using have probably been around for at least 100 and some odd years, and they haven't really changed. And they haven't changed because they're simple models and they work more or less well enough. The problem is that more or less well enough isn't satisfactory to a lot of people, myself included. And so what we're really trying to do is make a huge change in the theory of how we understand and how we go about measuring competition between plants. There's almost certainly going to be a lot of pushback because what we're doing is making everyone's life more difficult, because the equations are going to be more challenging to solve, and for us to understand what the ramifications of those equations are, those models. The experiments that people are going to have to run are going to be more involved and require more experimentation and more time and more man hours. And it's going to require a lot of people to basically accept that the world is not as simple as we've been pretending it has been. In this project there are two of us. Myself, who's a quantitative ecologist, and Margaret Mayfield from the University of Queensland, who's an empirical plant ecologist. The two of us coming together means that we're mixing everything that we really need in order to understand how plant communities work, because we need better models, we need better equations, we need a better understanding of how to actually quantitatively measure things, but we also need the expertise and the people who actually go out into the field, collect the data, but also understand the way that plants tick. And it's this combination that we really think is going to make our project particularly successful, because we're actually coming across and bridging this divide. The main near-term consequence is that we want to just change the way that we understand how plant communities actually work. Way down the track, maybe these sorts of results will be helpful and useful when we're trying to manage ecosystems, for example, our iconic grasslands here in New Zealand. One of the things that we actually need to know is what makes plant communities, or say grassland communities, tick. What do they do that allows many species to coexist and to co-occur? And the simple thing is that right now we just don't know those sorts of questions. So if we want to actually manage these sorts of ecosystems, or we want to do anything to avoid their utter collapse, we need to understand the very basic things, and the strategies that they're using to solve these problems are usually the best place to start.